Richard, obviously, we're here today for the Take Back New York tour with Chairman Cox. Why are events like this important for you as you campaign in the 24th?
Every time you can get together with people, your constituency, and someone of Mr. Cox's stature, the state chair, it's an opportunity to meet, give your message out, talk to people, hear their concerns, and get a sense of the energy that's out there, which is growing, I think.
Obviously, some of the issues that are on the side of the bus are issues you've talked about in the campaign. Spending and taxes and things. Talk about why that's an important part of your platform here.
Well, I think if we do not limit the way we spend money, if we don't cut back on the growth of government, which is incompatible with the growth of everything else that makes this country provide opportunity. The growth of government is fundamentally incompatible with the growth of small business, which, as we know, provides the jobs, provides the payroll to the people that are 70% of our economy, the consumer. We have to remember that. We can't let ourselves fall into the mindset that somehow we can tax ourselves endlessly into prosperity, because we simply can't. We have become a nation that spends more than it earns, borrows more than it can pay back. We import more than we export. We are quickly becoming a country that is mortgaging our future, and we are mortgaging our children's future. If you look at the major programs in this country, Medicare, Social Security, and Medicaid, they are essentially broke, and we haven't got structural ways to pay for them going forward that make sense. You can't have $1.6 trillion budgets year in and year out, and that's what we have this year. So that may sound like sound bites, or it may sound as though it's a cliche, but we can't take our prosperity for granted in this country. We've had it really good for a long time, and we have taken that for granted. We have forgotten that when you design something, you have to design it not for the next political cycle, but for generations to come. That's why Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid are in trouble, because we pander in small bites to people over short periods of time, and we allow ourselves to build things that are not sustainable. It isn't that the programs are bad. It's that we don't understand the need for sacrifice when we're building them, and that we have to consider more than the short political cycles that we allow ourselves to succumb to.
This is a question I'm sure many challengers will get, but why should voters choose you over your opponent, in this case, Representative Arcuri?
There's thousands. First of all, Mr. Arcuri is a career politician. Not that that's necessarily evil or bad, but my life story is one of creating my life through hard work, through application of my education, and for seeing opportunity and taking advantage of it. I see all solutions, or most solutions, as a direct result of the success of people in the private sector. Mr. Arcuri, on the other hand, and I was with him this morning, every solution he offers somehow has some government application, which means they need to tax us to do that. That's not sustainable. The government is not supposed to be anything other than that, or that the government should provide the environment for our success. It should provide the ground rules. But government doesn't create jobs. It doesn't create opportunity. That's what we do. And I think that we've forgotten. It's not just an economic message either. It's about welfare. It's about security. It's about keeping a roof over your head and food on the table. There's nothing worse than not being able to take care of your family. And we have unemployment, 9.6%, underemployment, 17 to 20. Minority employment is in the high 20s right now. All of those things are a function of they're a function of our building a system that neglected how it became what we know to be a country that has provided more prosperity, a higher standard of living than any other country in history. We need to remember that. This country is exceptional for a whole host of reasons, and I think people have forgotten it. We've become so wrapped up in getting what we want that we've forgotten the value of sacrifice and forward thinking. And we allow ourselves to be pandered to by politicians. People need to stop listening to what it is they want to hear and stop listening for things that they know that need to be done. Look at Chris Christie in New Jersey. He is a direct result. I don't think he could have been elected 4 years ago, but today he is, and it's because he's willing to make hard choices, and it's those kinds of hard choices that guarantee our future. And yes, it's painful in the short run, but in the long run, it's that very thing that's going to make this country great again.
Back in 2008, you know, this race went under the radar, I guess, but now it's, you know, quite a big race for New York and
Sure.
even down in D.C. You know, talk about why it's so important to have, you know, the support of Chairman Cox and the New York GOP and certainly Republicans nationwide almost.
You need everyone's support. I'm not, and I'll say this with my friend Mr. Cox here, I'm not running as a hard right Republican or anything else. I'm a business person who's had a blessed life in this community. I'm going to work across party lines to try to create that kind of environment which I think will help this state and this country provide my children with the same things that I was provided with. I have the conservative, independent, and Republican nominations, and I'm happy for that. But that doesn't mean as much to me as the opportunity to do what I believe is right, to build this country again, to rebuild it, reclaim it, and set it on a path that's sustainable over time, and stop being a country that somehow has almost become petulant, expectant. We need to remember how value is created, how opportunity is created, and get away from the notion that somehow if you're born an American, you're entitled to a prize. Being an American, born in this country, is a prize in and of itself. But beyond that, we need to be accountable for our own behavior. We need to educate ourselves. We need to apply ourselves. We need to do all of those things that have always made individuals successful. And that starts with education for me. We've neglected our educational system. We are 42nd in K through 12. We're 13th of 36 developed nations in terms of college graduations. That's not sustainable. The reason we have structural unemployment in this country is because we have failed to allow ourselves to force ourselves to be competitive. That the rest of the world gets it and we don't, or at least we haven't remembered how we became so great, and we need to get back to that.
Anything else you'd like to add?
No, it's nice to be here in Auburn. I like it here. A lady who works for us, Linda Lambie, is on our campaign. She actually has family here, and so it's nice. It's nice. It's nice to see this district. There's so many places that I go, and it's striking. You see scattered ground floors of buildings, every third one empty, and you look at the second floors, and they're mostly empty, and the thirds always are empty. These buildings were built when things were prosperous, when things were growing, when there was a lot going on, and it's striking how that's changed from when I was a kid till now. Where I live in Utica, it's depressing. It looks like a place in decline, because it is. I have never seen, and this is unfortunate, but I've never seen a new year in my community better than the one before it. I'm doing this because I'd like to be part of that generation that lives long enough to see that turn the corner, to begin to grow again, and to begin to pay respect to all those things that made us great. And that's not a hard right message. It's nothing more than the basic understanding of how real lives and accountability and value is created. And ultimately, no matter how much we're taken care of by someone else, I've never met a single person, or hardly anyone, who wants to be taken care of. We all want to take care of ourselves. And we all want less government, and we all want to be able to be the recipient of our own hard work.